Hello friends, I forgot to turn off the recording button. So anyway, this is Zero Fox Hime, and with it, I'm going to declare the first episode of Visual Novel Sundays, where I will record and upload 30-minute episodes of visual novels until we complete said visual novel. This one I've explicitly made sure, like, there's no nudity. I've done research on it, and it's good. I think the worst we might get is some lewd conversation, but other than that, we should be fine. I will do my best to voice as accurately as I can. I'm hoping there's voice dialogue because I suck at vocals. So let's get this started. And we're going to start a new game. Birds are chirping in the woods as the sun rises, and the birds are merely leaping merrily on the roof where nature is telling me a new day has begun. It seems anything that would haunt me when night falls will vanish when the sun rises. But whether I sleep well at night, I have to get up and go to work every morning. There were rustling noises that night. It sounded like a beast passing through the bushes. Creepy shadows would also appear for a brief moment outside my window occasionally, so I was alert the whole time. I didn't even know when I had fallen asleep. Dude, that sounds like you're being stalked. Like, if I heard noises in the bushes and creepy shadows passing by my window, I'd call the cops, like, right then and there. The only thing in life one can never escape from are death and work. I rub my eyes while complaining of myself to clear my drowsiness. At the same time, I'm also packing my things to get ready for work. Then my eyes fall on the wet zoological illustrated book on the desk. My mentor, who is a well-known naturalist, gave the book to me as a farewell present. But it got wet yesterday, so I can't use it for the time being. How did it get wet? How did the book get wet? Unless it was raining. I open the creaky wooden door after getting my stuff. The sunlight from outside is blinding. Another sunny day today. Since it's such a fine day, why not let the book dry under the sun? It should be as good as new, with only a few water stains at most. Things don't often go as we wish. I walk into the woods while complaining to myself on what happened to me recently. Wow, that sounds like me every single day I go to school. In fact, I don't need to be here. I don't need to walk for miles every day just to draw pictures of plants which look alike, and write down their features by using obscure terms. But when our mentor asked who would like to go for field assignment in his cabin in the woods to replace the former observer, as he's our senior who is about to graduate, I volunteered for it without thinking. Our mentor described this task as a glorious one with perks. All I could hear back then was this 35 yuan each month. It's quite fortunate for such a poor student, enough for me to live well. Men die in pursuit of money. That is so true. I do have the money to live well now, but this place only has the occasional birds flying around to keep me company. My current work area is on a section of the map where the former observer left it blank. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Still, I would call the cops if I heard rustling in the bushes and shadows on the windows. Or I'd think someone was doing the thriller. Ever since I came here, I kept working in this area, and added details to it. The music's turned off. There we go. There's so little we know, and so much to discover. We have spent thousands of years trying to figure out the shape of our planet, to explore the boundaries between land and sea. And now, how many years will it take to understand landforms around us, and all the species on it? I shall go back early today. I close my sketchbook. Upon checking my pocket watch, I suddenly realize I've been here for 6 days. I'll need to send the work logs to my mentor tomorrow. There's also a manuscript to finish. When I'm about to stand up, a few scattered seeds caught my eye. Bad luck for them, because I'm going to study them as samples. What? My handkerchief. I reach for the handkerchief in my pocket to wrap these seeds, but there's nothing in my pocket. Right, I forgot. I have to tear off a piece of paper from my notebook instead. It's already sunset by the time I return to the cabin. By following the trail of marks I left behind. Oh, that's pretty. That's real pretty. I didn't go back to the cabin immediately. I went to the river near the cabin to check on the creels I've set up beforehand. What's a creel? My predecessor taught me this trick where if you set up the creels in a row with their openings against the current, the fish won't escape once they swim into them. Hold on. Give me 1 sec, folks. Because I'm, like, legitimately curious. Oh! It's like, okay, it's a wooden basket that they use to trap fish. He said those fish are the best thing you can get to eat on the mountain. And he also said it was his predecessor who told him that. The cabin was probably built here because of this river. No fish at all over these past 2 days? That's weird. That's a bad sign. The creels are completely empty. Worse, one creel is damaged. When I retrieved the damaged creel to take a closer look, it looks like like some animal gnawed at it. Don't tell me something is really watching me. My predecessor didn't mention anything about beasts in the mountain when he handed this job over to me. Since I can't determine why my creel broke, I have no choice but to bring it back to the cabin for now. Ahem! Before I went in, I raised my voice and coughed on purpose. Not because my throat felt itchy, but because I wanted to embolden myself, and to scare away any beast which might be hiding in my cabin. But everything is exactly the same as I left it this morning. There aren't any signs that someone or something has broken in, so I relax a bit and put my bag and creel down. Didn't catch any fish. I'll have to eat something vegetarian today. I take out the wild vegetables I've picked on my way back, and put them together with the potatoes I stocked in the cabin. Then I make dinner for myself. After finishing my dinner, the place gradually turns dark. I light a kerosene lamp and it illuminates a small area at the desk for me. This is the only light at night in this forest. That's bad. With this light, I take out the manuscripts of the bag, I place it on my desk, and start to write on my work logs. Distribution of plants, types of animals, every living thing I've seen here today is recorded on paper together with lifeless figures such as the air pressure, temperature, humidity, and height. All these make up the fruits of my labor for today. Again, the silence at night is broken when something moved in the darkness. I stop my work and listen intently. Sounds like something is scratching against the wood surface. Okay, so that is. I rise softly and walk to the window, afraid that any noise might alarm what's outside, but there's nothing unusual outside. The window and door are barricaded and sealed tight after an inspection. I should be safe, as long as there's no large animal breaking in. Perhaps the light attracted some animal? I sit at the desk again and continue with my work. It's morning already? I slowly open my eyelids, which feel heavy, and I don't see anything weird. Seems like all the strange sounds I heard over the past couple of nights are just false alarms. But it did cause me trouble. I could hardly sleep. Time to get up. I need to make a trip to town and send the logs to my mentor today. Based on my experience, I'll need 5 hours to get up there, which means I need to depart now, or else I won't be able to make it back before nighttime. From White Emperor Town in rosy clouds, I leave at morn. Down for Jianglang, 1,000 miles away, I reach today. Oh, okay, so this is in China, not Japan. I think I've almost become savage after living in the mountain for a week, but now I can finally go to town and see people. I can't help myself from waving the stick which I use as an alpenstock and start to hum a song. The birds from the trees around me have heard me singing, and they chirp along as if they're having a duet with me. Barring the solitude, the cold air during the night, and unknown wild animals, the mountain is still rather livable. There are leafy trees, vigorous birds, clumsy squirrels. It would be perfect if I had a junior girl to accompany me. Hey now. Watch where you're thinking there, buddy. After 2 hours of walking in the mountain, I finally reached the foot of it. At the foot, there's a long road leading to the town. This road was originally built to facilitate postal transportation. My work logs will also be delivered through this road from the post office to the capital, thousands of miles away. This road is in poor condition, hence, apart from postal service vehicles which have a regular schedule, only carriages planning to take shortcuts would occasionally go this way. I would have to walk along the road for 3 hours if I couldn't hitch a ride. The sun is already at its highest point. Trees on the roadside aren't as dense compared to the mountain, so I'm extremely parched and my legs, well, they're getting tired. I should rest for a while. After finding a shady spot, I put my bag down, sit down, and take long swigs from my water bottle. Why the hell are there no carriages along this road? I just started to complain when there's that sound of a carriage coming in the distance. Hey! Hey! I jump to my feet, wave my hands and shout, hoping someone in the carriage will notice me. What a lucky day today. Bang. Suddenly the carriage jolted and tilted. Oh shit. Rumbling. Something black rolled towards me. What is it? The thing rolled to my feet like a drunken man. A wheel? The carriage stopped. Several men got off to check. I believe this is your wheel? I rolled the wheel towards them. Yo, there's our wheel. The man who looks like the driver takes the wheel from me. What are you doing here, young man? Heading somewhere? A decent man who looks like a scholar from among the groups of people stood up, too. Apparently he was the decision maker in that carriage. Yes, I'm heading to the town, but you're... I wanted to ask them if they could give me a ride, but I didn't, since their carriage is broken. Don't worry, it won't take long before we fix it. You can wait for us to take you to the town if you don't mind. Well, thank you so much. Not at all. My name is Wang Jing, and you are... Call me Yan. Yan, why are you alone in the wild? I'm a student during my research in natural science. I was assigned here a week ago to take over my predecessor's duties at an observation post in this mountain. Today I'm making a trip down to send my work logs to my mentor. I see. How marvelous of you to do research in natural science at such a young age. No, you're flattering me. I simply happened to select this major, that's all. I wanted to study natural science when I was young, but I didn't do well enough in my studies and couldn't realize this ambition. Is that so? By the way, who is your mentor? It's Professor Lee. Oh, you are a student of Professor Lee? Forgive me, I was disrespectful and didn't recognize his talented students. What talented students? I'm just a normal junior student under him. You are too modest. I will treat you well since you are Professor Lee's student. You don't have to go to all that trouble. I'm just going to send my logs. I must. My father and Professor Lee used to be friends. I think you'd be interested to know how the professor is doing of late. Well... Master, the carriage is fixed. We can go now. The driver interrupted our conversation when I'm at a loss in how to reject Mr. Wong's hospitality. Oh, okay, Jan, let's go now. But you may need to put up with what we have in the carriage for now. Why? Actually, there's not enough room in the carriage, so do you mind sitting next to the driver? Of course not, of course not. I'm more than grateful that you are giving me a ride at all. Accompanied by the sound of hooves in the breeze, my frustration and fatigue from the heat gradually vanished. I said we shouldn't have gone along this road. Indeed, there's something sinister going on. I heard the driver's murmur while I'm using my hands to steady myself due to the bouncing carriage. Are you talking to me? What? No, I was talking to myself. Oh. Thank you so much. Just drop me here. Here? When we entered the town, I planned to walk to the post office, so I told the driver to drop me, but he looked hesitant. What's wrong? We've just entered the town. Are you going to the post office? We can take you there. Mr. Wong pops his head out while I'm puzzled at the driver's response, so the driver will only listen to him. Why bother? It's troublesome. It's not. We're going there too, right? Join me for lunch at my place as we agreed earlier. You can tell my father about Professor Lee. But I need to go back early. Don't worry, our driver will be delivering goods in the afternoon. Since it's along the way, we'll get him to drive you home when the time comes, alright? Well, alright. Sorry to bother you. I was close to saying yes when he asked me to join him for lunch, because I haven't eaten any decent food in a week. So when he said he'll arrange with the driver to send me back to the mountain, I couldn't find any reason to say no. Okay, this guy is like... he and I have some similarities. I legitimately haven't had any decent food for a week. The only decent food I have had was... like today with a tofu and ground beef soup. Although it might sound bad, it's actually really good. After lunch, Mr. Wong's father, Wong Ji, kept asking me about my research in the mountain. Since I have no significant achievements, yet he's so excited. I have no choice but to tell him about the discoveries of my predecessors. After all, I don't want him to think I'm simply here for food. Due to Mr. Wong's hospitality, I could only take my leave and board the carriage when the sun is shining directly at the roof from the west. I heard that you live in the mountain alone. The driver asked me while steering the horse carriage. Yeah, I have to live there for a whole year. I think I'll become a savage by then. Well, you have to be careful. There's something sinister there. Don't go too deep into the woods. Yeah, something sinister? What? Fox spirits. Hey, we ain't sinister. How dare you? The driver had said something ludicrous so seriously I almost laughed. Fox spirits. You're kidding, right? This is some folktale. Any proof? Of course there's proof. Senior Mr. Wong you met today is a famous scholar. But he left his job and came to live in this small town shortly after he became famous. He had a big house in the capital city, you know. He never married. He never married? Isn't he Mr. Wong Jin's father? Master Wong Jing is adopted. He works in the capital city. He's busy, but he often visits his father. Although, all this traveling back and forth has been hard on him. But I don't see how it has anything to do with fox spirit. I heard he also went to the mountain when he was young. Then he was bewitched by a fox spirit and lost his soul. That's how he became who he is today. The father or the son? So you have to be careful. Don't go too deep in that mountain. Fox spirits like to bewitch humans deep in the woods. It said that fox spirits would offer a man great fortune and take his soul in exchange. That's how fox spirits feed themselves. But I don't think Senior Mr. Wong looks like a man without a soul. He looked hale and hearty, and he kept asking me questions. Well, he was faking it. Whenever he doesn't have visitors, he would stare at the ceiling in silence the whole day. It's kinda creepy. Well, maybe he's simply missing someone. Scholars such as you are always so opinionated. Let me tell you, it's better to believe it. I didn't mean to refute you. Such folk tales have been passed on from generations, are often so embellished to enable these stories to develop better, so it's almost impossible to refute it with science. I'm warning you out of kindness. Oh, okay, I'll be careful. I decided against arguing with him, and simply accepted his warning, which has good intentions. After all, there's another danger in the woods I have to worry about. Please drop me here. Okay, young lad, do be careful. I know, likewise. Be careful, too. Thank you. After saying goodbye to the driver, I'm all alone again. It's almost dusk. The birds in the mountains seem to be tired and are almost silent now. Speaking of fox spirits, it suddenly struck me that there are foxes in the mountain indeed. But they are small and don't move in packs like wolves, so they are hardly a threat to humans. You obviously haven't seen the fox forests in Japan. Oh god, they move like a single flood or river of fox fur. It's actually a little scary. Maybe there's a fox in my cabin? Foxes like to come out at night. They have good night vision. If I'd known about this, I would keep a dog in the cabin to guard me at night. Dogs and foxes are both canines, so they are unlikely to attack each other immediately upon encounter. And yet, We bred several. We made several breeds of dogs specifically to kill foxes. Unfortunately, dogs which are strong enough to fight foxes eat more than me. I can't afford a dog. I walk along the familiar road and finally see the outline of my cabin. Wait, something's amiss. Yeah, the door's open. Door seems to be open. Open? I'm the only person in this mountain. So it must be... I become frightened upon realizing this and pick up my pace. At the clearing in front where the meals are prepared, the skillet on the firewood gave me an idea. Please don't tell me you're gonna hit whoever is in there with the skillet. It must be a large animal as it can open door. With this thought, I held up the skillet. Oh, you fool. Whatever it is, say hello to my skillet. I creep up to the window and look inside, but I don't see any animal. It's quiet inside. There's no large animal as I thought. I could only detect the sound of crickets outside the cabin. My quilt is lying messily on the small wooden bed. The books on the shelves remain at their original positions. Even the Annals on Streamflow, a book on the geography in China, is partly out of the shelf in the same way I left it. I look around. It's a small room. I don't think any animal is hiding here. So I relax and put away the book. I thought it was a skillet. But what the hell happened? The wind couldn't possibly blow the door wide open. Besides, the bolt doesn't seem to be damaged. What happened? After checking around, there aren't any items in the cabin that are missing either. Eventually, my eyes fall on the desk. The illustrated book is on the desk. There's some red wild fruits beside it. Wait, this book. Didn't I put it on the clothesline outside yesterday? I think for a minute and come to a realization. The clothesline was empty indeed when I was outside just now. Someone collected it for me? There are fairies in this mountain? And these wild fruit. I picked one up and contemplated it. It's a raspberry, an edible wild fruit. Put the raspberry aside and touched the book. It's already dry. If I have to find a reasonable explanation, a passing villager probably collected the book for me and gave me those raspberries. So my predecessor is wrong about the mountain. We're not the only ones here. Whoever did this, he or she meant no harm. I put the skillet back and start to deal with the stuff I brought back from town and the materials my mentor sent to me. It's already evening by the time I'm done. Dim sunlight is shining on the mountain and the woods, gilding everything on it. Compared with my life in the university, living here makes me more like a hermit or a primitive. Whatever, it's no use complaining. Time for dinner. I ate some dry biscuits, then I felt upset when I'm reminded of the broken creel, because I have to fix it later. I can't keep eating biscuits. Well, it's broken here and there. I picked up the broken creel and checked the damage, then made an estimate on the number of ratatans I need to fix it. Is that like ratata? From one corner of my eye, something moved outside the window. When I looked instantly, there's only a flicker of movement from the tree's shadows. It's kind of creepy. Why didn't my mentor send two students for this? It's really scary to live here alone. I checked the window for signs of movement from the corner of my eye while complaining about my mentor. Living in the middle of nowhere, no wonder the stipend is so attractive. Suddenly, a shadow emerged from outside the window. It ducked when I was about to take a closer look. What the hell? Pointy shadow, looks like ears and a small head. I think maybe it's some small animal. I tried to visualize all the common, medium, and small-sized animals in this mountain. None of them are aggressive. The shadow appeared in my sight again while I was trying to figure things out. It hasn't left. Maybe it's a curious animal. I think I can handle it, but if I ignore it, it might be dangerous someday. After all, there are cooking utensils outside. It would be very troublesome if they got broken by animals. I then make up my mind. I reckon there's a blind spot behind the bookshelf from the window. I believe I put it there. I stand and walk towards the shelf, pretending to look for something. I did put it here. I keep talking to get its attention and take a detour to the back door behind the shelf at the same time. It's cold at night in the woods. I shiver the moment I step outside. Then I realize The cradle's still in my hands. Alright, it's my weapon then. Let me take it by surprise. Whoa! It's a young girl sitting on the ground at the window. She is adorable! I wish to pet your head. I didn't expect the thing that has been watching me in secret as a person, so I freeze with my creel in the air. You. She's wearing strange clothes and a hair accessory that looks like a pair of ears. And a tail? Who are you? What are you doing here? Where are you from? I seem to have scared her. She looks terrified and said nothing. Yes, well, you're holding a giant basket like you're about to bash her on the head. I think I would have the same reaction. Where do you live? So I softened my tone and still held the creel. She still didn't answer me, but her expression changed a bit. Are you lost? Did your parents know you ran away from home? My gentler tone seemed to have soothed her, but she became nervous again. Ah! That's such a cute... Ah! It wasn't easy to get a reply from her, but she only muttered some inarticulate syllables. What are you saying? She seemed to have realized something and reaches into her pocket where I'm alarmed by this. I hurriedly step back and hold the creel tightly. Stop! What are you trying to do? She pulls out something black and extends it to me. I can't see that item clearly due to the faint moonlight, so I only take it as a dangerous item for now. When I asked her to stop, her hand froze in the air. Just check. What is it? The thing in her hand is very thin. It looks like some dark fabric. Why did she give it to me? What is she up to? I have plenty of doubts about this thing and the girl. Yours. The girl finally uttered a word. Mine? How could it be mine? I don't know what she's talking about at all. I haven't seen her before, yet she said I've given something to her? I don't even know you. Thank me. Did she mistake me for something else? Or someone else? Ugh. She extends her hand again, while I'm confused over it. In her hand, there's a neatly folded handkerchief with a dark checkered pattern. Oh! Wait, didn't we say earlier that we lost our handkerchief? This handkerchief does look like the one I used to take with me. I stretch out my hand for it. There's a blood stain. That's suspicious. There's a blood stain on it. I think it's mine. The girl said it with a tinge of regret in her voice. Oh, it doesn't matter. How did you get my handkerchief? She repeated the same answer. I never gave it to you. Let me think. I remember I bandaged an injured fox. Ah. You? When I see her eyes twinkle, I begin to recall what happened a few days ago. I was recording the geomorphic features near a waterfall, when I saw a fox lying into the torrent. I saved the fox out of respect for life. The fox was drenched, one of its legs was injured by the rocks, and that part of its leg was still bleeding. So I wiped its fur with a handkerchief, then wrung it up, and bandaged the fox's leg with it. After that, I released the fox, and it limped away, and looked back at me every now and then. Her voice brought me back to my senses. I do. My illustrated book fell into the water when I tried to save it. Achoo! I sneezed involuntarily when a cold wind in the mountain at night blew across and gave her a fright. There are lots of questions about this girl when she claimed to be the fox, although it is said that fox spirits do exist. The training in science all these years doesn't allow me to believe this nonsense. for now, we're gonna have to end this. I'll see you guys again next week.